Yo, what's up, everyone? So, there it is. I don't have an intro for this episode. You might be wondering why I have this pretty sweet lineup of cameras in front of you. Aside from low-key flexing, they are actually the cameras I usually use when I'm out and about taking photographs. Whether I'm traveling, working, my usual photo walk sesh, parties, or even when I'm not even planning to photograph. Well, I don't bring them all, but instead, I bring one or two, sometimes three cameras for each occasion. In short, each camera plays different roles. Yes, I am that kind of dude. Alright, let's start. So I get a lot of questions about what I do for a living. And to answer that question, one of the things I do is I am a professional photographer. A real estate and events photographer, to be precise, and I have been doing it for almost 2 years now. And for work, especially real estate, I only go digital. I mean, I don't think going film will give me the optimal results. Also, the digital way is just more reliable for me. So for this occasion, I bring my Fujifilm X-T3 and my X-T1 as my second body. You can't see the X-T3 because it's what I'm using to record this video. So this X-T3 has this tilt screen that I am so fond of because of how convenient it is when I'm taking architectural photographs. And when I have to take some photographs where I have to raise the camera over my head. The dual card slot is also a very nice feature. In fact, I did not know this until I bought the camera. In short, this camera makes my job a lot easier. Sometimes when I do events, I would bring my Olympus OM4 Ti, but nowadays I feel like it's already unnecessary to carry a film body. Though, if ever I get a documentary project, I'd definitely bring at least one film camera. When I'm traveling, I tend to limit myself to 1 up to 3 cameras. 1 or 2 film cameras and a digital camera is usually my go-to combination. So here are my usual gear. When the trip is mostly in crowded places, usually I pick the Bessa or the G1. I love rangefinder cameras, especially for street photography, so these two are my best options. When it's more on the landscape and the cityscape tours, I choose the Olympus OM4 Ti because I have more lenses to choose from and I think it allows me to compose a lot better. And also the camera has quite some handy features that allows me to get a little bit more control. Then for the digital camera, I have the X-T3. Well, just imagine this is the X-T3 paired with my 16-55 and my 16mm lens. The 16-55 basically covers everything, but it's a little chunky and quite heavy. The 16mm is great for street shooting. It's a big lens, but it's definitely smaller than the 16-55. I also tried the minimalist approach where I bring one camera and one lens, but for some reason, I can't stop myself from saying I'm a minimalist to everyone I meet. So I had to stop that. Sometimes I bring one camera, sometimes I bring two. Usually it's a toss-up between the G1 and the Bessa. But most of the time, I prefer bringing both of them or my X-T1 so I have a backup camera. The R2A I find the more reliable camera since I am able to switch it to full manual. I usually shoot this with my 35mm Zeiss Baogun, but from time to time I pair it with my 50mm Canon LTM with this camera. The Contax G1 on the other hand has a pretty small viewfinder that I sometimes find difficult to compose with. Also, I need to get myself used to with the autofocusing. Sometimes my focus are off, but it's all my fault because I tend to half press before I look to the viewfinder, which usually ends up with the misfocused image. But the lens are pretty good. It's not surprising when it's made by a company called Zeiss. When I go to shady places, I just bring one camera with me, and recently, I acquired a couple of point and shoot cameras. The Kyocera T-Scope, Konica A4, and the Pentax PC35 AF-M, which I'm trying to test the street photography capabilities. And also, I may be getting more and more lazier these days. Alright, sometimes I don't really plan on taking photographs. Perhaps I'm out doing groceries or whatever errands I need to accomplish on a given day. Sometimes I'm just too lazy, but it's always good to come prepared and not miss a moment when it happens. Normally, I'm okay with just my phone camera, but when I'm feeling it, I bring any of these point and shoots. They don't take a lot of space, and sometimes I could fit them in my pocket. But I usually leave the house with a small bag, and this PNS fits perfectly well compared to my rangefinders. I do favor more to the Kyocera or the Pentax because it's the fastest PNS, both having an aperture of f2.8. Though the Kyocera has this waist level finder that I find useful for tricky situations. On the other hand, the Pentax has more control with the flash and ISO override. So, parties. I don't actually like taking photos of parties. I'm not really known as the photographer during parties, but I do have this Konica Big Mini A4 that has some defects but still works quite alright. It has an aperture of f3.5 as its widest, a 35mm focal length, and I thought it's the perfect camera for parties or on occasions that I can get a little careless. I mean, I wouldn't risk getting my Kyocera or my Contax G1 dipped in some mug full of beer. And this is actually a pretty decent camera despite the defect, solid autofocus, and pretty reliable flash. It's also very compact. You can fit it in your back pocket. Not something you want though when you're drunk. Alright, that's it. Hope you like this short episode. Hit like, subscribe, I'm not justifying my gas, and hit that notification bell. Peace.